There, let's try unmuting. Now, let's try it again. Welcome everybody to the show. I had this set for anyway. You guys know if you watched it all, was it last week? I guess it was last week. Gosh, it just seems like a blur, and that's what we're about to talk about. I have two different settings for my shows: the road show settings that we do, and then obviously here in the home studio, I can do the show from here too, and it's just different settings, and of course they're not the same, and it messes me up every time. It's just the way that it rolls. This last week we were at the Techno Security and Digital Forensic Conference down in Wilmington, and we're going to talk to Jen here in just a second about that. So hopefully everybody's week is going well, and everybody's surviving it. I cannot believe I looked at the calendar today because obviously planning out, and it's already like midway through June. And summer's still not here to Ohio yet. So at some point, it will get warm here, or not rain, one of the two. So suddenly I feel like I'm in England, but it is what it is. All right, without any ado, we don't have any sponsors of the show today, but I am going to pop on to the chat window. Now, this may not work because, again, I had it set for the road show, but there, pop. Curious where everybody is at, where everybody's from. I know that we advertised this last minute, but nonetheless, it is there. So if you guys pop in just to the chat. Now, we are broadcasting out to our home channel, which is YouTube, of course. We're also pushing out to LinkedIn, to X. I think I'm pushing out to Facebook. We usually don't get a whole lot of viewers over there, so I kind of stop that. And then we have a backup network as well, just in case something happens to our YouTube connection over there. The folks at Rumble, I believe, is where it's at. So we're a little bit on both. Everybody's quiet today. Nobody's chatting. That's fine. All right. I guess I just have to do it myself here. I'm just going to type hi into the chat for everybody. There you go. So there's me. Oh, it's cut off. See, I told you it wasn't quite set right. But that's all right. We will move forward. So yeah, you can see, look, I guess I am pushing out on Facebook. There it is. It went out to Facebook too. I am going to bring our guest up here because, hey, Allison's there. How are you doing, Allison? You survived last week as well, which is good. And it was just last week, right? I didn't miss a week in between or something like that. Hold on. I'm going to bring Jen up here right now. There you are. Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here chuckling because, like you, last week was a blur. I'm like, was it a dream? Was it last week? What just happened?
Yeah, it's a little crazy just because, yeah, I mean, literally, I just got home because we drove to get back overnight, which was insane. I'll never do that again because I needed to hurry to get back because my daughter had a softball game. So I wanted to make sure I made that last Friday. And so we just drove all night to get back. And oh, that was crazy. Insane. Won't do it again. But how are you doing?
I'm still tired. I have to admit it. It took a lot out of us. It was literally a whirlwind. So I'm ready to kick back. I slept a lot last weekend, laid by the pool for a few minutes. And now, of course, we're in the throes of major post-show wrap-up. Everyone wants to know how many people, how many this, and then full-fledged right into West. So no rest for the weary.
That's right. You guys are starting to prep already for the next one, which I had up here on the screen, and I'll pull it up a little bit later on. But yeah, that's October 27th.
27th through the 29th. We pushed it back a little over a month to a better time of year and a better location, but we can revisit that.
Yeah, for those of you who have no idea what in the world we're talking about, I guess I should give some foundation on it. I can't believe if anyone doesn't know of the Techno Security and Digital Forensic Conference, and you're watching the show, you should go to this show. It's my favorite. I love going to it, and you guys should definitely check it out. And Jen has always kind of been our contact to hang out there. Mm-hmm. So Jen, why don't you give folks a little bit about your background, how you got involved in the Techno show?
Okay, yeah, that's a good place to start, especially since we had so many new people join us this year in East, and with some additional marketing efforts, I think we're reaching some audiences that we have never had before. So Kevin and I we chit chat because we've been friends and colleagues and coworkers and bouncing off each other, kids growing up together for since 2015. But before that, my background basically is in marketing, sales, events, primarily events. I've been doing over over 30 years now. Hard to believe, I know, because I look like I'm only 30. Ha. But I've been on the Techno events since 2015. I've done all manner of events. I started out as a marketing assistant with a company called Shopvac and McCullough Chainsaws. If you're old like me, you remember McCullough Chainsaws, and that was my first introduction to conferences, trade shows, events, as we say, in Chicago back in the heyday, where you got nothing done with the union workers unless you had a lot of cash. So busted a many budget in the beginning. So yeah, it's very different to be on Techno. I bumped out after so many years of event experience while I raised my kids, had my own company, contract consulting work. And in 2015, when the company I work for now, Comexposium, purchased the Techno show from the founders. Jack and Don were 3-letter agency guys who started the Techno event. It existed kind of like in its own little bubble. There's a lot of the OGs still around. It was great to see some of them last week, and Jack kind of took me under his wing, showed me the ropes on this industry, and it's been just over 10 years now. I've been here, and Allison as well, and we've just been growing this event, seeing what the industry needs, bringing people together. I'm just an event person trying to make my way through the technology that everyone else is trying to keep up with in today's world as well.
Yeah, and there's just not too many for the digital forensics and investigators type of conference. There's just not too many that are out there that are, actual learning conferences as well. And that's what I like about your event. You can go into any one of the sessions and actually learn something. Otherwise, if they, the vendors, I always get a laugh if they try to do a commercial. Jen and Allison are after them. Man, they're like, no, teach them something.
Well, that was a big change, right? If you talk to Allison and I, and by the way, we're both very accessible. If you go onto the webpage, technosecurity.us, our cell phones are on there, our emails are on there, and it's the rare occasion you don't hear back from us. Last week, I will say, if I'm on show site, don't email me, don't text me, find me at the reg counter or wherever. But we're accessible, and we love to talk about what it takes to make this event run. And we pride ourselves on keeping that neutrality. That's what we serve the industry. We're not, one exhibitor, one company, one segment of the investigative cyber area over another. We try very hard to be pretty much neutral and say, what does the industry need? How can we help? We'll work with anyone. We'll collaborate with anyone. We'll chat possibilities. We have a couple of interesting conversations coming up. Case in point, Aaron West was our keynote last week with all the fraud and the cryptocurrency. We're looking at seeing what we can do to help her push to bring justice to some people there. We love these conversations. It's why we love what we do.
Yeah, and there's definitely no shortage of that type of information out there, or the need for that type of information. And so I appreciate you guys and everything that you guys do. It's always funny to see you at the shows, because I talk to you guys pretty sporadically throughout the year. But at the show, it's like somebody has lit and fuel underneath you guys. You guys are like running around like crazy, making sure everything's happening the way it is. But I'm going to tell a funny Allison story, because she's not on the air right now to defend herself. She's just kind of hiding in chat. I was walking through the hallway. I can't remember what day it was. I think you were standing there. You had just walked up, and Allison's like got her chair right in the middle of one of the hallways. Just like at that corner down there, and she's just sitting there. I was like, and like I thought she had a break. I'm like, Allison reached it, man. She's just kind of hanging out in literally the middle of the hallway with a chair sitting right there. But nonetheless, she was like, it was actually all good intent. She didn't want to interrupt somebody that was actually working. But of course, to my eyes, I was like, Allison had the break.
That's my favorite thing to say when anyone says, "Oh, have you seen so and so on site?" I'm like, "Well, I think I saw him running down the hall screaming something like, I can't take it anymore." But there are moments we want to be like, "Oh no, I can just go waitress." But again, we love what we do. It was overboard last week. It was most definitely overboard.
Yeah, it was. It's insane. So to give everybody a good scope at what goes on, so we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit, so you guys understand what it takes to put one of these things on. Again, I don't know how to do this, but I hear the stories from you and from Allison about this. And how many? Again, I don't know if we talked about this, so I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. You'll know off the
Yeah,
top of your head.
you're good.
How many vendors roughly did you have, or how many booths were set up
We had
at
54
the?
this year. We had
Okay.
54 vendors this year. I want to say it was, I have all the stats in front of me. I have been living in stat land this week as we're auditing the data, pulling
Hmm.
comparisons together for our, corporate senior management. I mean, there's the numbers swimming through my head, and justifying things from a different perspective is always fun post show. But this year we had 54. That did not include the barters. As I said before, we work nicely with everyone. So, the SWIGD, unfortunately, NW3C couldn't be there this year, but folks like you, people who help get the message out. Who else was on the show floor? Cyber SC, North Carolina DPS, Private Protective Services, all these other groups. So it's just who is in fact a industry paying exhibitor who is truly in there. 54 this year, and I think it was 68 last year.
And that's a lot, though. I mean, to deal with that. I mean, I everyone's a little bit needy. I know I am a little bit needy. So to tell you my story is we're literally driving down there. My wife and I drove down, and we drove down to Charleston first and hung out down there, and then on up through Myrtle, and then on up to Wilmington. And as we're driving up to Wilmington, I'm going like, oh, I think I forgot to register for the event. So just to say, I'm one of the booth, right? That weren't even counted. And we have needs, and we're like constantly, people are like asking poor Jen and Allison for stuff out there. And I'm driving, so it's not like I could just register right then. So I'm like trying to text or voice text. So I hope it all came through okay. And Jen took care
Yeah.
of me. Got me registered at the last second. So that was, and imagine multiply that times, some of the big larger booths there too. They have, dozen people, if not more, attending as well.
Mhm.
And everybody needs something. I don't know how you guys do it. So
Yeah.
kudos to both of you.
That's what we do. Last week, I felt like the wheels were coming off just a little bit, but keep in mind our event. It's not a true trade show. It's a
Hmm.
conference, right? It's like you said, it's a learning experience. I've had
Mm-hmm.
some people tell me, "Oh, you should put training in the title because then more people can get approved," or you should call it a trade show because now I can get small business to help me pay for my booth participation. It just is what it is. There's just so many aspects of the event on the back end that people don't realize. My favorite question that I laugh at that people ask me is, "Oh, you do 2 conferences a year? What do you do the rest of the year?" And it
Nothing.
just, I'm like, oh, as we say in the South, I'm not from the South, but I live in the South. Bless your heart.
That's
When they
right.
get asked that, they just, but we're of course happy to help. But part of why I like to sit down with you and today in particular is let's educate people. Let's see how we can make your lives more stressful. You're attending, you know what? You're a first time attending. Call me. We'll streamline it. Exhibitors, especially. There's a whole exhibitor kit that some of the big guys do need. In our little 10 by 10s, we streamline it, and we'll talk about how we do that, why we do that. Because we're part of your team. We want you to have a successful event, whether it's you're attending, you're speaking, whatever your needs are, you're exhibiting. We're accessible. We're here. We are Techno.
Yeah, there was a lot of I had a little bit of time to walk the showroom floor in the exhibit hall, and it looked like there was some new people in there that I hadn't seen before, and that's
Yeah.
always great to see in the community. New companies come in to contribute to the industry and either share their knowledge or they design this really cool, awesome tool that can help.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that out there. And you guys, I don't know how you guys find these folks, but you do, and you
They
make them part
find
of the
us.
show. It's great.
Believe,
Really.
believe it or not, this year in particular, and that's a good point. It's one of the stats that I'm reporting. We had 13 new companies. There's a drop from last year, a drop from the year before, but as you guys know, there's consolidation recently in the industry.
Hmm.
Magnet bought Grayshift and Grify, and then Penlink bought. All
Yeah,
these
I can't
names are
remember the name of the company. I was just talking to those guys too. They told me. I can't remember.
Cyclone. I don't know. Anyway, so that's a part of it. It's what we all deal with, but it's a lot. But those 13 companies, I will say, and quite a few of them were international. A good handful were international. So it's another part of what I love is I get to share that 30 years of background, right? Streamline it. Don't worry about this. Focus on this. Pre-show planning this. On-site, do this. Everything from, hey, do you need to establish what your message is, or do you need a booth? Do you need an actual booth structure? What's your budget? How can I help? In so many ways, because that's what I did as a contractor and a consultant, and ultimately their success there and what they spend, and if they miss deadlines and have additional surcharges, it all goes into how do they calculate their ROI, and will they be back to add to our community in the future? So that was a big part of our pre-show for months leading up to it, literally talking them through. How do you log in and put your company description on the website? How do you register your staff? How do you ship? Where do you ship? Why is it important to have it received at the advanced warehouse? Why can't I just ship to the convention center? It's all logistics, it's very complicated if you look at the big picture, but it's
like
but
I
it's
said,
really
I don't.
simple if you just listen to me.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't know how to keep track of any of that
Where do I
stuff.
send it? What do I do? I gotcha.
Barely keep track of my own, and you guys do well with communication. I mean, I look back at my email and I saw like at least 3 like you better register type emails, and I still didn't do it. So it's not hard to lose that stuff. And I'm just a small little guy, and you're dealing with some of these big companies, and whew, I can imagine all the pains that they do.
It's all good. You got to remember, with my background, I mean, one of my contracts, this is funny to share. We call it the chicken show. Yeah, someone needs to call me and ask me about that at some point in time. But I have one client I take time off, vacation time from my full-time trade show job to go work another trade show. And there's over 1,300 exhibitors there. Some of the booths are as big as our entire hall, double decker. So
Holy cow.
Again, you think this would be easy, but it's such a more on the ground, personal, teachable industry discussion from the heart rather than just logistics. It's like the carnival, right? You come in, you get out. That's what the big events are like. This one is more the relationships, the networking, the listening to attendees as far as the challenges they're having out there, and then the exhibitors and how can you meet those? I just love it. I just love it. But it was still a blur.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's. And even so, I mean, I can't imagine the cost just to host an event like this or to have it, because there's a million things. Because again, I know very little about this stuff, but I do overhear things happen because we go to a few shows throughout the year, and it's like just the cost of having coffee because you have to get it from the venue, and it's like, holy crap, is that like liquid gold? What are you actually serving? There's a lot of costs behind that. So that in turn is why the vendors are there to help make that possible for attendees to be able to attend. And
that is true. And I've jotted down some fun facts, right? I think I posted a little bit of a teaser for those of you who don't know what it takes. But backing up a little bit, the big question everyone's been asking, what was the attendance like? What was the attendance like? And I think that this year we all went into it with, okay, the federal is going to impact us, right? What's going on with the federal budget cuts? A good chunk of our attendees are federal. So before we get into the cost, the number, we've audited the data. I've got one more pass through to go look, but I'm pretty confident we're pretty close to final. We had 730 people that actually checked in verified. So we were down from 895 last year. So that's about a 19% drop in attendance. So again, going back and doing post-show reports with our group, and our corporate headquarters is in Paris. So I've got to be very detailed. So I'm going through and thinking, okay, it's obviously due to federal. I've got to put some numbers on that right now. But the just on a upfront basis, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, Secret Service usually have a booth. They didn't have the booth.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Booth. Yeah, with that booth, they each bring a minimum of 8 to 10 people also that are attendees, that are investigators, because the booths they use for exposure, but they also use for recruiting. So, there's revenue for us lost there. There's decline in attendees there. One agency initially registered 17 people to come. It's a significant agency, and they dropped it to 4. And I'm grateful to have those 4, but that just took another 13 out of the number. So when you look at the difference, I think a lot of us, Army CID is another big one. We
Oh,
did
that's
have a
right.
couple
I didn't see any of those guys. Yeah.
they weren't there. NCIS did come. They sent about the same. Trying to think. Camp Lejeune had some Marine investigators. They came for the first time because I think they were local. So, looking
Hmm.
at the big picture and the big scope of things, I think that the drop was definitely federal. And we all came into it with, yep, we understand that. We're in our brains compensating for it. Let's focus on the folks that we do have there. Not only that, when I'm analyzing it, it's not just the direct federal loss of attendees. It's those budget cuts that affect our friends at NW3C, right? They're an industry supporter.
Hmm.
They recently had layoffs. They didn't send out anybody. And then I try to let people know the task forces. Look at the ICAC. So many of those are in digital forensics. I can't look at someone from, a state police agency or a local agency that I don't know on the background works on an ICAC task force and is relying on that federal funding for that as well. So there's shortfalls that aren't obvious, but knowing the industry, they're definitely a factor. So yeah, I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
that.
for
And then,
sure.
not even on the LE side, there's political factors that have affected the retail world. We had a significant retail attendee base from the digital forensics from a large retailer. They signed up, they were set to come, and then they had to cancel. Their quarterly earnings dropped. I think part of that was tied in with DEI, tariffs, the impact that they felt from, a sales and a spending, aspect of the event as well. So it's not just the law enforcement, it's not just the federal, it's everything that's going on in our world right
Yeah.
now.
Everything that can be related back to that. So when you have to send your report off to to your supervision, if I think I can help you with the translation there. You just get a little cutout picture of Elon Musk and stick it to your report and send it along. That should explain everything.
Yeah. We're like,
Doged or
I
something.
just throw up my hands, just
Yeah.
like on a day-to-day basis. Why did it? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the good news is, we did shift a little in our marketing, right? We knew the federal was going to be low, so we did shift in our marketing and our efforts where we could. And we introduced something this year for the first time attendee ribbon. If you remember seeing those, there was a blue ribbon. We
I did
issued
see
those.
that.
I issued those because so many exhibitors are like, well, I don't know. We see the same people, year after year. Well, I will tell you, we had 240 first-time attendees this year. Never been to any Techno, East, West, Colorado, Texas, Myrtle Beach, San Diego, anything. We're really proud of that on our side.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I did see a few of them running around. And
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, you're a first-time attendee," and they just looked at me like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Well, I
That's
liked
great.
it because it gave us the opportunity in the elevator or just the few moments of downtime that we had,
Hmm.
asking them, "Oh, how did you hear about it?" Or if they didn't have an attendee ribbon on, be like, "Oh, how long have you been coming? Oh, you've just been here since we've been to Wilmington. You don't have that background in Myrtle Beach." Or someone said, "I'm from California. I heard the East Coast was bigger, so I thought I'd come here this year."
Oh yeah.
Just it was great to strike up some conversations, and I will say we're a tight knit group. For those first timers, we all need to just reach out to one first timer each year and just make them feel welcome and introduce them to a few people because we're a lot.
Hmm. Oh yeah, you could say that. Yeah, you could definitely say that for
Yeah,
sure. But no, it
yeah,
was good to see all the first time. I did see a lot of those blue ribbons come by, so
yeah, yeah,
we added to them with our
yeah.
fun ones, and yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, I liked my troublemaker ribbon. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I was just looking for my. I thought I had my Techno badge still in my backpack right here, but then I realized it's sitting across the room in my other bag that I threw over there. I haven't even
Oh,
unpacked yet from on the
yeah.
show.
You have a pile like I do. I have
Yeah.
because I drove. Everything got thrown in my minivan. Yes, I do still drive my mom minivan that could hold the starting five of a basketball team in it, including my boys. But there is literally a pile next to me. I'm like claustrophobic and just stressed because I like things to be tidy and neat. But I'll get to it this weekend. I hope.
Yeah, I'm not even going to promise that because I don't think I
Yeah.
will. I'm just still looking at me. I don't know why I still do it. I still take swag from vendors.
Mhm.
And it's like, probably I could do a history. Like I could just pick one of your vendors and do a history of swag every year, of what they gave away at Techno every year. Because I'm sure I have one of each. My wife wants to choke me,
In the
but
historical files. I'm getting ready to
yeah,
do a big clean out as I prepare to segue out of this house into a new life situation. So yeah, I am actually going to be pitching stuff left and right. But yeah, no, I wanted to. You mentioned coffee, right?
hmm.
What keeps us going at a show? Coffee, coffee,
Oh
coffee.
boy,
So it's expensive to produce this show. Guess how much a gallon of coffee costs? And Wilmington is a very inexpensive event. I always tell my
oh
clients when I
man,
was a consultant, if you're looking at cities, if you're looking at venues, first thing you look at is how much does a gallon of coffee cost? Because that'll tell you, proportionately where your budget's going to be city to city, state to state, location to location. Just take a guess.
yeah, I know it's more than gasoline right now, and I think we're hovering around the $3 a gallon mark in gasoline. And people complain about those prices. Wait till they hear about the coffee. I'll throw a wild guess out. I'm gonna go middle of the road. Probably like I'm gonna say $50 a gallon.
That's actually a really inexpensive gallon of coffee.
I went low
Actually,
on reason.
I know. I've seen it as at over $100 in some venues, but we pay
Yeah,
about $69 a gallon for coffee. So one
that's
of the
insane.
things that people that don't do events don't realize is, you get a price list from a location. And I know one of my exhibitors went through this. They wanted coffee in their booth, and in anticipating and budgeting for that. It's not just the cost of the coffee. Then there's an administrative fee, and then there's tax on the event. So there's something called plus plus in the events industry. It's the cost that they're charging you plus the administrative fee plus the tax. Then that does not include tip, by the way. So, so all of the bars and everything else, the tips on top. A can of soda, $4. And again, Wilmington is relatively inexpensive. We've been surveying over the years, and I had one of our exhibitors be like, "We're moving back to Myrtle Beach. Why don't we go to New York? Why don't we go to DC?" I'm like, I don't think you want to see what I'm going to have to charge you to just produce this event on a break even standpoint. I'm not a volunteer.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
if you go to New York, what a cup of coffee, a gallon of coffee is going to cost. And then you look at one of the most expensive things that we have is AV costs, the audio visual. Take a guess at that, Kev.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea on that. It's probably. I mean, literally, I just did the math real quick. If it's you get a big like 8 ounce thing of coffee, there's 128 ounces in a gallon
Yeah,
of coffee. I'm doing some nerd math.
yeah, yeah.
1 gallon. So take that. If you get a full 8 ounces, you're only looking at 16 people that it can serve, or 16 cups of coffee for
That's
that
one morning
for
times
that price.
comment
Yeah, I
times
know.
three times the
Uh,
afternoon breaks times. And I don't know about
and
you,
y'all
but I
thought,
chug coffee at conferences.
yeah, I know. Y'all thought Starbucks was expensive. Holy
Sometimes
crap,
we
that's
joke, we're like, it
insane.
would just be cheaper to just give everyone a $5 Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the Starbucks card. I bet you. Yeah, they'd love that.
Yeah, but
Definitely be cheaper.
audiovisual.
Holy
So, and again, I
moly.
will preface it by saying Wilmington is a very inexpensive convention center
Yeah.
in this industry. You've got your tier ones. I was doing some research the other day to chat. You've got your tier one cities, which are Chicago, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Orlando, and then you start coming in with a few tier two. If I remember correctly, tier two for me is like under 1 million square feet. So Williams. Wilmington is very small. So our AV costs alone were just around $30,000 just for projectors, mics. I mean, things like that. They add up, right? So, with that being said, I want to make sure that people understand, there's a reason why we do what we do. There's a reason why we have policies in effect. There's the other thing we do that a lot of events don't do. And I come to some of the conferences like AASIS and everything else, and one year I was at NCC just as an exhibitor myself. And I understand in convention centers you're paying for your concrete. Typically it's a 10 by 10 concrete, and whether it's $2,800 or $3,500 for the concrete, then you have to do carpet from the exhibitor standpoint, right? Not the attendee standpoint.
Right.
You have to do your carpet. That can be $300 for a 10 by 10. You have rent your tables, 100 plus per table. Chairs, $50 per table. And these are the low prices, right? A waste basket sounds silly, 25, $30. Electrical. We provide all of these things. We provide an
Yeah.
electrical
Big,
kit.
bright pink cord this year. I found it.
$400 I paid recently to plug something
What?
in.
What?
Yes.
And
So we cover all
that's
of
a
that
per
for
booth cost normally
retailers.
is what you're saying, right?
Hmm?
Is that a per booth cost?
Some places charge per day. Depends on the
Oh,
facility.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
And
Yeah,
that's
because
through the
we've looked at.
facility. And then, the furnishings are through what we call a GC, a general contractor. For us, it's Fern. You see them running around there. They're a
Mhm.
big part of our team and what makes it happen. But for us, we pay for all those things on your behalf. You don't have to order them. And then incur surcharges for ordering them late. So we cover all of that. We also cover material handling up to a reasonable weight for each booth level.
Hmm.
And material handling, I jotted it down. At some events, it's $150 per 100 pounds of freight that you ship.
Wow.
Yeah, but you think about that. It's the cost. How many people touch that, right? There's the advanced warehouse, there's the show site, there's very specific reasons why you have to meet certain windows. Say you ship your crate to the advanced warehouse. You're
Hmm.
shipping it, you're paying to get it there. It hits the dock, someone has to offload it with a forklift. They have to store it for the amount of time. They have to log it. They have to then load it back on a trailer, lug it over to the warehouse or to the convention center, drop it in your booth. There's a lot of touch points. It's a high labor industry. Um,
Yeah, I guess
but
it
that
would be. I
gets
never thought
expensive.
about all the things that go on behind the scenes. Yeah.
Hmm. Forklift rentals. It's it's just crazy the line items when you see those bills coming in from, like I said, we're doing all the post show wrap up and auditing all the bills and doing all the diligence now to kind of just like any other company, right? Get your P&Ls in order. How do we do well? Where can we improve? Where can we save? What can we do better in the future? So thank you for hanging in there with us, all you people who do come to the conferences.
Yeah, I
That brings
think
me
I
to.
think the main marketing folks at companies probably get it, right? Because they do
Mhm.
shows, that's what they coordinate. But someone who just goes and hangs out in the booth and like a tech person or a salesperson, they have no idea of all of that
Right,
stuff that you had just mentioned. That's
right.
crazy.
And
I've been to I don't know how many shows and I had no idea of all that stuff.
yeah. And a lot of the ones in our industry, right? Something to think about is their association run. The
Hmm.
ICAC National, which unfortunately again got cut this year, but ICAC Seattle. I mean, all these people we'll partner with. We love working with all of them. We're a for-profit company. We
Hmm.
keep our costs as low as we can. I fight our management every time they want to increase rates, but we haven't had a rate increase in 3 years. So this year, those exhibitors who were with us last week, just reminder, book your booth space, send in your application if you're coming to Myrtle early, because we do have a price increase July 15th. We are going to
Hmm.
offer the opportunity for all companies to sign up starting June 20th. But, I personally am very sensitive. I always say I'm a good steward of everybody's money, not just my own. Um, but costs have gone up. So, that's a huge part of it. I don't know. It's just education, right? It's education of what it
Right.
takes. Um, One of the items I wanted to talk about, because it's kind of like a joke at our show. People are like, "What's the suitcasing?" As a matter of fact, I want to share it. My
Yeah.
friend Will from Data Pilot posted
Yeah.
a
His
on
picture. I
LinkedIn.
don't think I have
Great.
it. I might have it. I'll Let me pull it up while you're talking and explain it. I will
Pull it
find
up
it
and
for
show
you.
it if you can. So we have these no
Yeah.
suitcasing signs, and I actually borrowed those from one of my contracting days, my consulting days. Um, it doesn't mean you can bring your suitcase to and from your flights, checking in, checking out. There are a couple of terms in the industry if you're in trade shows and large events. And again, we're a conference with an expo floor. We're not a trade show, but the parameters of how it works is the same. Suitcasing is basically someone who comes as an attendee who should be in a booth. They're considered non-exhibiting manufacturers, and they're suitcasing the show. That term means you're walking the show, trying to sell to people, either exhibitors or other attendees, without officially participating in the right manner, so to speak. There's another one called outboarding, which, again, I get so much flack for the suitcasing. No one's going to understand what outboarding is. But outboarding is basically the principle is the same. You're taking advantage of that community that is so expensive to create, that we've all put so much time, the exhibitors, the paying attendees, our management, our company, into bringing them together. So outboarding is when you go to that event city and you have space outside. You host client dinners, you host vendor dinners, you have a houseboat, and you have meetings, and you have social gatherings, and basically you're jumping in there. And I don't want to say freeloading. And I'll share an article on my LinkedIn later if people want to look out. This is coming from me. Is some of the big industries have even said that's stealing. You're basically taking advantage of and stealing the environment and everything that these people pay to put into. So in our industry, I would think particularly people should be on the up and up. Let's be transparent. Let's do things the right way. Let's help each other succeed. There's enough bad guys out there to catch.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So
there we go.
There he is.
I didn't even tell Will we were going to do this. So he did. He posted that. He's like, "What's with the no suitcasing?" Huh? And I love that picture because
yeah, it's just Will. We know he's goofy.
Well, if you're watching or if you watch later, I love you. I love Data Pilot. I love all you guys, Jeremy and Paul. So, but that just made me laugh, going through all of the follow-up on all the social media posts, if you left me a message last week, if you texted me, I am so behind. I'm still trying to catch up. But this week I was literally laying in my bed with my iPad at the end of the day, and I'm just scrolling through and liking and comment. And that just, I busted a gut laughing. So I wanted to address that today because it's a real thing. It's an absolute real thing. And,
yeah, I didn't know about it until a few years ago that was actually a thing. And I thought about it. I'm like, wow, that's kind of dirty that people would do those things. Yeah. But yeah, especially the larger things when, they come and they set like whole parties up and things like that outside of your venue. And I'm like, and you didn't even buy a ticket.
Yeah, it happens. And again, yeah. I had pinged out, and I try to catch when they come in through registration, and we do allow. So those non-exhibiting manufacturers, if you're not familiar with our show, I would love to have you one time. You pay as an attendee. I let you know, hey, be respectful. You're here to network. You're here to evaluate. That's great. I had a little bit of an incident this time, but we handled it, I think well. But that opportunity is there. If you're familiar with our show, I'll flag you when you come in. They're difficult emails for me to write because, again, we want this community to come together and to network and do all good things, but the parameters are there. We do have that, as you know, a big part of the exhibitor packages are guest passes. We provide the guest passes, and those initially came about, first of all, when we bought the show, everybody went for free, and it was just a free for all. And again, as you grow and as you expand and as you put expenses involved, the lunches that came back this year, they cut them because so many less than half of our attendees actually pay to go to the conference. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. So, and that has shifted. We're trying to shift that over the years, but the guest passes themselves were established for a couple of reasons. One, for first-time attendees that are trying to get approval, have not been able to get approval for either the training or the travel. And it helps them get there. Then they can justify to their organization, come back with what they learn, helps in their day-to-day workflow, things that are key to their operation of their company. And then they'll get sent back again. It's kind of like, hey, you see, it's great. It has value. Now budget for it. The other one is if there's agencies and law enforcement truly that don't have that budget, because again, you see what's going on in our world right now. Agencies are short-staffed. They're paying so much overtime with everything that's going on. What's going to get cut? Training and travel. Is it important they be there? Absolutely. How can we help you? Call me, and then I'll match you with a sponsor that has a pass, because I can see in the back system how many passes were utilized. of the passes available, this is a great stat. Of the passes available this year, 42% of the passes that exhibitors had were utilized. It's not a lot. That's a
No,
lot of
no.
passes. If someone is truly deserving of that opportunity to come without paying, that's great. We'll host you. We'll figure out who you match with and who. 40% was last year. So, as a whole, I'd love to see them used more, but just because they're not being used doesn't mean they're just like, hey, everybody come and party. So what we had to do, unfortunately, is put a policy in place that we limited it. If you've come 3 times or more on a guest pass to Techno, you're no longer eligible for a guest pass. We'd love
Hmm.
to have you. You're part of
Makes
the
sense. Yeah.
community, but it has value, and purchase a ticket. The reduced early bird rate, with the social media and the promotions we do, we always offer a 10% promo, depending on what efforts we have out there. It's only $895. That was the lowest rate for government this year. And if you were a corporate or enterprise entity that wanted to attend, if you registered early and you had a promo code, it was just about that amount as well. So, think about it. Between the coffee, the drinks, the lunches, everything else. I have probably a $300 per person hard cost in just food and beverage. So it's important to understand why those policies are in place. I'm not just trying to make
Yeah.
people mad.
And if they're drinking a gallon of coffee, holy cow, they're costing even more
Right?
money out there for
Right, there's
sure.
$120.
Oh, my picture just
Oh,
shrank. What the heck happened? That was weird. Hold on, let me see if I can. There we go. Oh, I didn't have it locked.
oh,
Let
you're
me lock
back.
my picture. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't lock it here. Hold on. I'm gonna mess this up. There we go. Um, hey, there we go. Awesome. I think it's locked now. I'll find out if I
No one's
I,
no
I
one's
scrolled my
chatting.
mouse. I was
No one's throwing in questions while we're just trying to figure things out here.
no. Allison was defending herself for sitting in the middle of the hall, but that's the only really chat I see. Yeah, I keep calling Allison out because it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Hack. Yeah, yeah. Hey,
All right.
you can't tell.
It
No,
was
it's
so
not
great to
Matrix code
see
unless
so
it's
many people.
sideways.
It,
What's that?
it was so great to see so many people last week.
I
Just
know.
and again, it was a blur. I had so much fun last week. It's hard because we don't have a lot of time in East. That's why I love to come to other events. I love to go to IASIS. I love to go to ICACs. I love to, because then I can really hang out and get to know you, you guys, our attendees, our exhibitors. I did sit down at the magnet party with a table of, God, what agency was Heath and his group from? I remember, oh, it'll come to me. I sat there for 30 minutes and just had this awesome discussion with this group of attendees. I love doing that.
Oh, I
I
think I know
love
where
it.
you're at. I think were they South Carolina?
They were South Carolina, yes. Oh,
I
his
can't
name
remember
was
the
Heath.
agency.
Again, facts, figures, names are all swimming in
Yeah, I
my head.
know.
So
It's we
if you're
meet
out
so
there, I
many people.
apologize. I will be following up. Speaking of South Carolina,
Oh, what's happening
speaking
down
of,
in South Carolina?
yeah, that was the big announcement last week, right?
Oh, indeed it was. See, I was holding off, even though people kept prefacing it on the show. I was letting Jen announce it, and everything got so busy. Everything got so busy. I said, we'll do a follow up on Friday, and here we
Right,
are.
right, right. So
So
yeah,
back to Myrtle.
yeah, right.
That's pretty stinking
Um,
awesome.
it's not going backwards. It's exciting. Everything we do here, I don't know. I'm a pretty logical person. I'm really not an emotional person, to my detriment sometimes. But we have surveys, and the good thing is with the shift from I used to work for the management company that produced the show, and I'm newly corporate with the same job. That's a long convoluted story, but we have new senior management that Allison and I are working with now, and they have been phenomenal in saying, what do you guys need? What's going on with the show? And again, having to justify where we stand and where we want the event to go, and what needs we have to make those wants and needs to meet those lists that we have. It was overwhelmingly obvious that our group wanted to go back to Myrtle Beach. And
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons that we didn't move to the convention center in Myrtle Beach initially was, and we heard these comments quite a bit when we announced it on site, was Oh, where are we going? Back to the Marriott? No, we can't fit, unfortunately. Although I love, love, love that
Right.
property. It's the convention center, and there is a Sheraton attached to the convention center, which back when we made the move and started looking for a new spot because we outgrew the Marriott, the property was pretty tired. It was not impressive. They have gone through the most incredible complete renovation. They started with the guest rooms and bathrooms. Now it's the common space. And so we truly can go back to having a headquarter hotel, which I think we've all missed this past year. The Wilmington as a city I like, but the hotels gave us very few rooms. On peak, that's another industry term.
Yeah.
On peak, we could only contract for about 150 rooms on peak,
Oh, wow.
which, yeah, Wilmington does not have that really good cohesive, and it doesn't have a true headquarter hotel opportunity
Hmm.
like we had. So it was hard. We were all running. Who's where? Who's at Whiskey Tango Foxtrot? Who's on the rooftop at the
Oh,
Aloft? Who's on the rooftop at the embassy? And we missed that. We missed that feeling of camaraderie. I think we missed the nostalgia of Myrtle Beach too.
yeah.
There's a
Because
lot of that with our group.
it seems like, well, I know you and Allison walked around with us one evening, just kind of making sure we make everyone's event as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible. And I never even made the rooftop bar in our hotel, not one time, or any of the hotels, not one time. We were
Right.
bouncing the whole
And that's
time.
how we missed so many people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was crazy. We missed a lot of people. I was like, oh, where
Right.
are you gonna be? Where are you gonna be? Oh, I want to hang out
Yeah.
with everybody at one time. But yeah,
Right. Well, and also for Myrtle Beach, a lot of Myrtle Beach versus Wilmington, a lot of the feedback that we got was it's more difficult and more expensive to fly into Wilmington. You can fly into Myrtle Beach and drive the hour, no big deal, but it just it's not Myrtle Beach. With our group, I think that just kind of says it. It's not a slam to Wilmington. It wasn't what what we came to know as Techno, with that cohesive environment. So a lot of it's nostalgia. But I will say that the Sheraton will be our headquarters hotel. They're giving us almost all the rooms. So we'll have about the same amount we had at the Marriott. They have a bar we can use as kind of our headquarters, but it's also
oh, that'd be
right
nice.
adjacent, right adjacent to Top Golf, a short walk to the
Ah,
beach, and a short walk to Broadway at the beach. So if you're bringing families, I think that was an aspect of it. There wasn't just a lot for the kids to do. Your kids grew up in Myrtle Beach, coming to Techno. A
all the
couple of my
time.
kids
Yep.
did.
They loved the pool and then the
Yeah.
beach, and yeah, loved it. That's every year.
Yeah. And for those people who do have families or do have a little bit more budget, I mean, the Sheridan, I will tell you, is also giving us government per diem rate for some of our rooms. Woo! That's huge for our group. But there's also plenty of properties nearby, walking distance, that people can easily stay in and still kind of be part of the action, which is nice, instead of being all over the place. So a lot of reasons. Survey results are the main way we make changes. So please, everybody from last week, exhibitors and attendees alike, take 5 minutes, answer the questions for us. Free form. I always say good, bad, ugly. I want to hear it. Allison wants to hear it. It helps us develop our programming, tweak things, improve things. It's how we got the lunches back. It's how we got to move back to Myrtle Beach and San Diego. We showed our senior management the responses in that and said, this is what we need to do.
Yep.
And we want their
Yep.
support. So please fill out
Yep.
your surveys. I think we're going to send them out Monday, I think.
Monday. So
Yeah.
everybody be watching your inboxes on Monday.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Or I
get
will
out there.
call you and say,
I'm
you didn't fill it out.
I'm looking forward to it because obviously it's been kind of the scuttle for the last, I don't know how many, it's about at least a year, about the potential of going back there. And like I said, my wife and I had driven down to Charleston. We came down a day early. We made it kid-free week for us, which is very, very rare to realize that, oh, I am still married to my best friend. So that's awesome. We can hang out and still have fun without kids. And so
Yeah.
we went down to Charleston. And then on our way back up, we stopped in Myrtle and kind of cruised by that Sheridan, where we thought it was going to be. I'm like, ooh, this is nice. And it's like a short skip from, you already said it, Broadway, right?
Broadway at the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And your
that is
frogs and the balloon
awesome.
hats,
That's right. That's right.
tequila
It's awesome
shots.
for yeah. But man, they have, I don't know if they still do. It's been a minute since I've been there, but they had a great sushi restaurant. They had,
Yeah.
I don't know if Paula Dean's is still there. The Upside Down House, that is there. We went into that, took the kids in there, and they got that. I think they still have a Ferris wheel, stuff like that, and it's just fun for the kids. Oh, and they had that princess. Again, I did not. Let me disclaim this. I did not partake in this. My daughter did, where she could dress up like a little princess, right? And then she was up on stage and did this little show up in her dress, and she loved it. The kids loved it. That's when they were obviously much younger. Now she's going to be 14 next month. But yeah, good times and great for the family. I love that area. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we went there. It's kind of funny this year. I drove to the show. Our team actually flew in. You say that potential has been for about a year. People will say, "I heard a rumor we might be going back to Myrtle Beach," and I'd be like, "Well, I may have started that rumor." But last year, after talking to everybody on show site, having the opportunity with that 25th anniversary booth to really stand there and talk to a lot of the attendees, it kept coming up. So I left Wilmington last year and drove straight to Myrtle Beach and toured the facility. So this time around, coming into Wilmington, our team, the two guys in operations, Anthony Martin, who are amazing, Joanna, who you all know, has been with us about a year, and she keeps coming back. So we don't drive her off yet. So thank goodness for her. She handles our social media and things that I don't do. And then Allison and I, they flew in, the four of them, and I stayed at the Myrtle Beach Marriott the night before because Betty hooked me up. Nostalgia. I picked them up like I was like the mom with the, soccer team in the back, and they all loaded it up. Poor little Joanna was in the back. I think in our thank you note that we sent out via email, there's a picture of all of us in my minivan the day before we had to go up to Wilmington and start setting up. And it felt good. We had
see that picture now. Yeah, and she was in the back. Yeah, I did see it. You posted it somewhere, right? Was it on LinkedIn?
Everything was packed in around her. It reminded me of road trips with my 4 kids when we would drive up north for the summer. But we did have lunch at Broadway at the beach, and they've actually added a whole big, significantly larger, and I want to say more upscale. You ever go on a cruise and you get off at some of the islands, and it's like these cute little pastel shops that look like old houses in their different colors. They added a section with that. There's a new cool bar with a band shell called Hangout. There's a couple breweries. I actually sent the brewery names to Joey at Monolith because they, along with Sumari, like to do the brewery.
Oh yeah, they love it.
It felt right. It just felt right.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been down in that area for quite some time. We just drove past on our way to the to drive by the convention hall. So yeah, that'll be very cool. And I know every year about that time, I think, I don't know the dates for next year for sure. And I don't know if you have them set yet or not. Considering it was just, no, but they have a big, huge country music festival in Myrtle, because we were coming up and they had a clear down by the beach. Not clear down, it was like a couple blocks from the venue, but they had it all shut up, all the tents, the stage set up. I'm like, what is going on here? So we actually talked to Myrtle Beach PD at your event, and they said, oh yeah, if they move it back, it's going to be like right there. You could come early. I think he said come early and go to that and then right to the show. I'm like, ooh,
we always ask about what events are in town, and I recall that one from Myrtle Beach when I remember leaving the Marriott that Thursday or Friday, and in the Uber on the way to the airport, I would see them setting up the stages. So it's going to be, we believe, the same pattern. As we're leaving, they're coming in. So any country music fans, it's a weekend pass, I think, with some great artists. So
yeah, we'll have to check it out. My wife and I are huge country music fans. We love it.
We do get the question So our timing, right, is the first week of, I always say it's the week after Labor Day. So it's typically the first week of June every year, which we
Hmm.
shifted to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We used to start on a Sunday. We do get the question, well, why can't you push it back so all the kids are out of school? Like the South is out of school
Hmm.
then, some of the North, but most of the kids aren't quite out of school from the North by then. And we did look at that. In the past, we have never pushed it back because that's traditionally the ICAC national dates in Atlanta. So
Hmm.
obviously we never want to conflict with them. And I think it worked well. People going from Myrtle Beach for the vendors going from Myrtle Beach or Wilmington to Atlanta. Again, unfortunately, it was canceled this year, but we did look at that and the dates just aren't open. So we're still our traditional dates, June 2nd through the
Yeah.
4th, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, and the first week of June. So
Yeah. My
it's
kids are out of
exciting.
school. Sorry about everyone else's luck. So sorry. That's my sympathy for them. No, I'm kidding. I'm
I have
kidding.
no more kids at home.
That's right. So, well, I will miss that one day, but not today. So, you're
I don't
also,
know.
yeah, I probably will, but I'll never admit it. That's for sure. Um, you guys are back in San Diego
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. I
Like
didn't
I
want to
said,
miss
those
that. I'm
surveys. Yeah.
yeah. I'm
San
hang on.
Diego.
I have this queued up. Hold on. There it
Queued up.
is. Yay! Right there.
We heard you. We heard you. Yeah, click on that. Go to towncountry.com. So if you scroll down, you'll see what I like about this. And
Oh
again, our
wow, that
management,
is
they're amazing. They're like, Alice and Jen, what do you need to do? Um,
that's beautiful.
Pasadena wasn't great. Again, we fully admit that. Our previous management moved it to Pasadena, tried to grow it too
Mm-hmm.
big too soon, and we're
You zoom
rebuilding
in on
it. So
this.
what we've done is go back to a property. It actually reminds me of the property
Oh
we had at
wow.
Myrtle Beach. Cool
Yeah.
hangout, and volleyball. Look out. I was a pretty good volleyball player back in the day. Fire
Ooh.
pits at night, couple different, all under one roof. We can all be under one roof. For those of you who want to go to, the Gaslight District, there's a trolley right there that'll take you there. But I'm super excited. We need some support from the exhibitors to build it back up. We
Mm-hmm.
actually opened the registration 5 weeks early for West because while we were promoting East, we got a lot of questions. Can I sign up for West? I want to go to West this year. And we pushed it back from when we moved from San Diego. We were in October. When we got shifted to Pasadena, we were second week and third week of September with the federal close at the end of September. October was a better time, always was, and so I'm excited to be on the tail end of October, almost about a month later. So,
Oh
so I'm
yeah.
excited. Pay attention when
Oh
I've got to
heck yeah.
turn and start working on this. So,
Yeah, like I said, the venue looks beautiful. I got to turn it off my screen because I keep looking at it, going, oh, I can see myself, drink in hand, and beach chair. I'm there, right there.
it's cool. Towncountry.com. It's a neat little hotel. Used to be a roadside inn back in the 50s. It was like one of those places that everybody stopped along the way, and they now have completely remodeled the front end. We looked at the property when we first launched San Diego, but it didn't work for various reasons. And kind of like the Sheraton in Myrtle Beach, it was a little tired and it needed some help. They've
Hmm.
done an amazing transformation over the past several years, and I
Oh
think it's going
wow.
to be perfect. It's going to be
Oh
perfect.
wow.
So
Yeah, I'm getting
yeah.
to the age where I need some transformation and need a little help every now and then too. But I'll make it. I'll make it. Hey, Hack, ask a good question here. I don't think I have enough room on the screen to push it up there.
Okay.
It says, just so I know, host digital forensic events that are about cyber awareness or CTF is, yeah. So I mean, it is cyber awareness, but there's also a teaching element too. It's not just cyber. They digital forensics. I know there was some OSINT, a lot
OSINT.
of AI awareness stuff this
Right.
year, and you have some e-discovery,
We did. We blended
yeah,
in eDiscovery a couple years
blended in.
ago. It's part of that kind of case disclosure. So when we're examining how we need to promote it, because it's not a cybersecurity event, right? We have a
Right.
track that's cybersecurity related, but I think we might need to rename that more incident response because
Hmm.
that's what leads to the forensics, the e-discovery aspect. So, we're doing a lot of evaluation with actually an outside marketing group to see
Oh, very
what
cool.
tweaks we need to make, who we really are, where we fit in the market. Because, I mean, I talk to people a lot and they say, you're the best digital forensics event out there. Well, if that's our core, where do we need to go? How do we need to grow that? What do we need to do? So it's a good question. It's a
Yeah, it
blend
is a
right
real
now,
good
but we
question.
need to define it better, I think.
Hmm.
I always tell people look at the programming. So technically, the four tracks are cybersecurity, investigations, digital forensics, and e-discovery. So I always say look at the programming on the website for the content, and that'll tell you more about what you'll learn, who you'll meet, things of that nature.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, we're quite a ways off from the San Diego event. About how soon normally before the
You're
event
funny.
does the? Yeah, I didn't ask for a date. I just said roughly how soon I'm dancing around it. Of course, not to have
Yeah.
Jen reach through here and choke me, or Allison for that matter. I think that's Allison's area is making sure the
Yeah, that's her area. But so the call for
roughly.
speakers, we soft closed it. We just officially closed it.
Hmm.
There was a lot of people. We kept it over. It was supposed to close May 15th. We officially closed it, I think, yesterday because there were some people at East. Like, oh my gosh, I've been so busy with East, I didn't. Yes, we know. Quick submit it. So the advisory board, I believe, got all of the information on the submissions yesterday. They'll have a period of time to review. Can't remember the date, but within a month we'll have a sneak peek at least out. But you
Okay.
can look at on the website under the conference section. There is a link to what we call the snapshot guide, which shows you all the titles from last year. On the East website, it's also still up in full. You can search by. We don't have the titanium sponsors, so we don't have the Celebrate, Magnet, MSAB, and Oxygen content because that's a smaller event.
Hmm.
It's about half the size, maybe from an attendee standpoint, but the content is very, very similar. There's really no overlap in attendees, even though the content is very similar. The overlap is on the exhibitor side.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
I
far
think
off, Kevin. It's coming up fast.
yeah, I know, and I feel bad for you. And that's what I think it's Hacker. My Leet Speak reading is not great. Um, is if you go to the technosecurity.us and if you still click the one from Wilmington, that's
Mhm.
right. All of those are still up. So you at least get an idea of kind of the tracks and stuff
Or
that
email me and I
are
can
at them.
send you just the PDF of the snapshot guide for both events so you can kind of take a look and
There you
compare.
go. Make
The
it easy on
speakers vary.
yourself.
Some of the speakers are more
Yeah.
regional. We will be
Hmm.
having Aaron West as the keynote in West.
No, very cool.
He was our keynote and just phenomenal, phenomenal ladies, phenomenal organization she's launched. So we want to partner with her and see how we can help her. And there's a lot of LE focused on that fraud and cryptocurrency, transnational human trafficking. It's all tied in. So in about a month, you'll see a sneak peek, but happy to
Very
send you
cool.
the information for what went on the last years, if it helps
No,
reference.
nope. No pressure. No pressure. Um, I think did we catch everything? Did we
I
catch
think
everything?
so. Where's my
I'm
notes?
looking through notes. I think we caught most things. I'm looked up at the
Yeah.
clock and we're 4 minutes over, but it's our
Oh,
show. We can do what
wow.
we want.
That was an
We can
hour?
do what we. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? We just get chatting
Almost,
and hang on. Yeah,
it's
absolutely has been.
Friday. It's almost happy hour. Yeah, but
Indeed.
again, we're accessible. Call us.
Yeah.
We love to talk to attendees. We love to hear the feedback. So surveys. Be transparent. Be good people. Catch the bad guys. And how can we help?
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Jen, don't go anywhere. Guys, also don't
Okay.
forget their October 27th through the 28th. I have the dates now. I can see it at San Diego. So make sure you go in
27th through 29th.
and check that out. And then next year for East, I see June 2nd through the 4th. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Oh, excellent. So yeah, and back down to Myrtle Beach where we were just talking about, and that's always a good time. So
It's
it's always
exciting.
interesting. Yeah, I look forward to it. It's like seeing my extended family every time I go back, and I don't have enough time to talk to everybody nearly as long as what I want. I know you definitely feel the same way. So it's always a good time. So guys, make sure you check it out, technosecurity.us. And if you don't have anything else, Jen, we'll go into that awesome music that everyone loves at the end of this. And don't go
Thanks so
anywhere
much.
though. I'll talk
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. And the show, I personally love the show. I don't know why it was more love for me this year. Probably because the Whiskey Tango. I will miss WTF a
I
little
will.
bit.
I
So
thought, can we charter a bus one night to maybe
go clear up.
only an
I'll
hour?
bring a
Drive.
slab of wood that we can catch on fire, and then if
Yeah,
somebody else brings the glasses and stuff, we can just do our own, and we'll be good.
yeah.
And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about,
down
I'm
with
sorry you've missed out completely. So awesome, Jen. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thanks. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank
too.
you.